All right, strap yourselves in because we are launching headfirst into a deep dive about getting ready for astronomer interviews.
We're talking about that dream job working with the stars.
And lucky for us, we've got this awesome guide from RoleCatcher.
Career guides, interview guides, even some cool AI stuff.
It's like having a personal spaceship to navigate this crazy job market black hole.
Exactly.
So let's say you're sitting across from these super smart astrophysicists.
They probably eat and breathe the cosmos, right?
What do we need to know to really wow them?
Well, first off, we got to make sure we all know what we're talking about.
Sounds like a plan.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually breaks down what astronomers really do.
Yeah, because it's got to be more than just like stargazing.
Oh, way more. We're talking high-tech, cutting-edge equipment.
Like what?
Ground-based telescopes, space-based telescopes, even things called spectrographs.
Spectra what now?
Spectrographs. They help gather data on, well, everything out there.
Planets, stars.
Even entire galaxies.
Whoa!
Those spectrographs, they analyze light from those objects.
They're like, what, cosmic detectives or something?
Kinda. It's like fingerprinting a star to figure out what it's made of, how hot it is.
So there's got to be some serious data crunching involved, too.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, because it can't all be telescopes.
Astronomers use all sorts of crazy complex software to make sense of it all.
Deciphering cosmic clues.
That's what it's all about.
Trying to answer the biggest questions about, like, our whole universe.
You got it.
So less stargazing, more staring at a computer screen then.
You could say that.
So if I want to go from, like, astronomy newbie,
seasoned stargazer.
what does that journey look like?
Actually, RoleCatcher maps that out too.
No way.
Yep, from entry level all the way up to, like, senior astronomer.
Wow.
And the cool thing is, your responsibilities, they totally evolve.
So you're not just, like, stuck doing one thing forever.
Right. You might start with assisting on research, collecting data.
Maybe even, like, reading a ton of research papers.
Exactly. But then, as you get more experience...
You start leading projects, maybe even presenting at conferences.
And even securing funding, mentoring new astronomers coming up.
So it's like, you're not just learning about the universe.
You're shaping the whole field.
That is so cool.
It is.
Okay, but let's be real.
The interview is what we gotta nail.
That's the make or break moment.
And guess what? RoleCatcher has some sample questions that could really help us out.
Perfect, because I need all the help I can get.
We're gonna break down a few, give you a head start.
Awesome, let's do it.
Right.
Okay, first one up. What inspired you to pursue a career in astronomy?
Sounds simple, but I bet there's more to it than just, I like stars.
Oh, sure, because everyone says that.
This is your moment to really shine.
Share that passion, tell a story.
Think back to what first sparked that love for space.
Was it a book, a movie, maybe even something you saw as a kid?
Whatever it was, share that story.
And then connect it to, like, what you're doing now.
What excites you the most about astronomy right now?
And don't forget to explain WHY.
Right, exactly. They want to see that enthusiasm.
And that you've thought about where you want to go in this field.
They're looking for real, genuine passion, not just a memorized answer.
Okay, so let's say we've wowed them with our amazing space origin story.
What's next?
Here's a classic. What is your experience with telescopes and other observational tools?
This is where things get real.
Got to prove you've got the hands-on skills.
Be specific about what types of telescopes you've used.
Is it optical? Radio?
Even if it's something super cool like Hubble, mention it.
Yeah, name drop that Hubble experience.
And definitely mention any software you're familiar with.
Because that's a big part of it, right?
Huge. Things like IRAF or CASA, especially if you've used them for, like, data analysis.
IRAF, TESA. Those sound tense.
They are, but they're essential tools nowadays.
I'm guessing I don't need to list every program I've ever used.
No, just focus on the ones relevant to, like, your research interests.
And the specific job you're going for? Okay, but what if I'm, like, fresh out of college? I haven't exactly used the Hubble yet.
That's okay. Highlight those research projects you've been involved in.
Even coursework, right?
Absolutely. Even personal projects can show dedication.
Like what? Building a telescope in your backyard.
Exactly. Or using, like, online databases to analyze data.
So it's about showing them, hey, even without tons of experience,
you're eager to learn and dive right in.
Okay, next question is getting down to business. What research have you conducted in the field of astronomy?
Time to showcase that research experience.
But don't just list off projects, right?
Right. Tell a story, explain what questions you were trying to answer.
What methods you used.
And most importantly, what did you find?
What were those big discoveries?
They want to know what makes your research significant.
Okay, so for example, if I worked on a project studying galaxies far, far away,
You need to explain WHY. That's important.
and what new knowledge came out of it.
Did you challenge existing theories or maybe contribute to how we understand galaxy evolution?
Okay, I think I'm getting it.
It's about showing them you can think critically, analyze data.
And actually come up with meaningful conclusions.
You got it.
How do I make sure I don't, bore them with too many technical details?
It's a balance.
Because they are experts, right?
They are, but they also want someone who can explain things clearly.
So avoid jargon.
Keep it concise, focus on the key takeaways.
So it's not just what you know.
It's how you present it.
All right, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Good?
But before we move on, I want to hear more about this RoleCatcher AI.
Oh, yeah, this is cool stuff.
Because we talked about how it can help with individual answers, right?
It can do even more.
Okay, tell me more.
Imagine having a coach who analyzes your responses, tells you what to improve.
And even suggest how to tailor them to the specific job you want.
That's what RoleCatcher's AI does.
That sounds amazing, but is it, realistic?
Totally. It's like having a secret weapon for your interview.
So it's almost like a mock interview with an expert.
Exactly. And it can help you match your skills to what each job actually needs.
Okay, that's huge, because sometimes I feel like I'm just throwing applications out there.
It takes the guesswork out of it.
All right, I'm definitely seeing the value in that.
Good.
Now, I know we have a lot more interview questions to go through,
You do.
but maybe let's save those for the next time,
Sounds good.
because I'm already feeling more confident just knowing this AI has my back.
That's the goal. Okay, so let's dive back into those interview questions.
Sounds good to me.
Get ready for this one. They might ask, how do you stay current with developments in the field of astronomy?
Okay, so it's not enough to just, browse space.com every now and then.
Haha, no, astronomy is constantly changing. There are new discoveries all the time.
Yeah, it's not like we figured out the whole universe yet.
Right. They want to know you're keeping up with the latest research.
The new techniques, all the emerging theories.
It's all about showing that dedication, you know?
So how do I prove I'm on top of it all?
Well, are you reading any scientific journals?
Like what? Give me some names.
The Astrophysical Journal?
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Or monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society?
This sounds legit.
They're like
Yeah.
the gold standard for the field.
Nice.
And have you been to any conferences?
A few, yeah.
Especially if you've presented your own research, those are important to mention.
Okay, good to know.
Oh, and don't forget about online resources.
That's like ours a cake, right?
Exactly. That's where researchers share their newest stuff.
Like before it's even officially published.
Yep, preprints.
So it's about showing them you're tapped into all the ways astronomers share knowledge.
Traditional, A&D digital. Got to cover all the bases.
Makes sense.
It proves you're committed to always learning new things.
And in astronomy, there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely.
All right, next question's a bit of a doozy. What is the most significant discovery or contribution you have made in your career?
Ooh, yeah, this one's tricky.
Because you want to highlight those accomplishments, but you don't want to sound cocky.
Exactly, it's a fine line.
So how do we walk it?
Well, first of all, it doesn't have to be some Nobel Prize-worthy discovery.
Phew, because I haven't gotten one of those yet.
Pick something that shows off your skills, the impact you've made.
Maybe, like a new data analysis technique.
Perfect example. Or maybe you were part of a major research paper.
Or maybe I mentored someone who went on to make their own discoveries.
That's great too. The key is explain the situation, highlight your part.
And emphasize why it was important.
They want to see the significance of your contribution.
Okay, so let's say I helped analyze data that led to finding a new exoplanet.
That's awesome.
How do I talk about that without bragging?
You could say something like, as part of a team, I worked on analyzing data from the Kepler Space Telescope. I focused on developing algorithms to spot tiny changes in starlight, and this led to finding a brand new exoplanet around a star similar to our sun.
Wow, okay, that sounds way better than what I was going to say.
It shows your specific role, but also acknowledges it was a team effort.
Which in astronomy, it pretty much always is, right?
Almost always.
Collaboration is key.
Exactly.
Speaking of teamwork, next question is all about that. How do you collaborate with other astronomers and researchers?
This one's pretty straightforward, but you gotta have good examples.
Because everyone says they're a team player.
Right, but they want to see how you contribute to a research environment.
So talk about projects where you worked well with others.
Maybe you helped solve a technical problem.
Or help the team communicate better.
Or maybe you brought your own expertise to the table.
So it's about proving you're not just there.
You're actually making the team stronger.
Love it.
Highlight your communication skills, your ability to listen to different ideas.
And being willing to both learn from and teach others.
That's huge in any research field.
Okay, let's get a bit technical again. How do you handle data analysis and interpretation in your research?
Time to show off that analytical toolbox.
As astronomy is all about data.
Tons and tons of data. So be specific about what software, what statistical methods you've used.
And basically how you make sense of all that complex data.
Okay, so for example, if I used a technique called aperture photometry to analyze images from a ground-based telescope.
You should definitely explain what that technique is.
Because they might not know every single technique out there.
And explain why it was relevant to your research.
So I could say I used aperture photometry to measure the brightness of stars in a really crowded field. That way I could isolate the light from each star and study their properties.
Perfect. You're demonstrating your knowledge, explaining it clearly.
It's that balance again.
You got it.
All right, next question takes us out of the technical weeds and into the bigger picture.
Hit me with it.
What are the most significant challenges facing the field of astronomy today?
Ooh, this one's interesting.
What do they want to hear?
They want to know you're thinking about the big stuff.
Not just your own little research bubble.
Right. What are the big challenges, the opportunities for the whole field?
So we could talk about limitations of current technology.
Definitely. Needing more powerful telescopes. Or even, ethical questions about space exploration.
That's a big one, too.
So should I mention, the search for dark matter? Or the origin of the universe?
Yeah.
Maybe even the chance of finding alien life?
Those are definitely big challenges, but don't forget about the more practical stuff, too.
Like what?
Funding for research, for example.
Yeah, that's always a challenge.
Or the fact that astronomy hasn't always been inclusive to everyone.
True.
Or even something like light pollution. That's a huge issue for observations.
Wow, I never thought about that.
The main thing is to show them you're thinking critically about astronomy's future.
And how you might be part of solving those challenges.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to feel like an expert myself. But before we get carried away,
not quite yet.
I want to talk more about RoleCatcher's AI.
Oh, yeah. We can't forget about our secret weapon.
We've talked about how it can help with individual answers.
And tailoring your CV, right?
But can it do even more?
It can. Think about your whole application, not just the interview.
Oh, right, because you got to get the interview first.
Exactly. Your CV might be awesome, but it needs to be fine-tuned for each job.
Makes sense.
That's where RoleCatcher comes in. It analyzes those job descriptions.
It's like it knows exactly what each employer wants.
Kinda. It finds keywords, suggests ways to restructure your CV.
So it's like having a personal assistant who knows the hiring secrets.
You could say that, and it makes applying for multiple jobs way less overwhelming.
Okay, that's a lifesaver.
Right. It takes out all that guesswork.
All right, I'm definitely seeing the value in this.
Awesome.
But what about the actual interview? Can this AI help with that whole experience too?
It can. Remember that video practice with analysis feature?
Yeah, the one we mentioned earlier.
It's not just about practicing answers. It's about analyzing how you deliver them.
So my body language?
Exactly. Tone of voice, everything.
So it's like having a virtual coach critiquing my every move.
Haha, basically. It can really help improve your interview performance.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's a game changer for anyone who wants that astronomy job.
Right. This AI is sounding better and better.
I told you.
I know we have a few more interview questions to get through.
We do.
But let's save them for next time.
Sounds good.
Because I'm already feeling more prepared just knowing this AI has my back.
It's all about giving you the tools to succeed.
And maybe even launch that dream career in astronomy.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're back, ready to tackle the final frontier of astronomer interview questions.
Let's do it.
Get ready for some more cosmic curveballs.
I'm excited.
Okay, here's one that needs some careful thought. How do you communicate complex scientific concepts to a non-scientific audience?
The art of science communication.
Exactly. Because it's one thing to talk to other scientists.
But can you explain it to, your grandma?
Yeah, or someone who's never even looked through a telescope.
It's about bridging that gap, making astronomy accessible to everyone.
So how do we prove we've got that skill?
Think about times you've had to explain your research to someone who doesn't know all the technical jargon.
Okay, so giving a talk at a planetarium.
Perfect example. Or writing for a popular science magazine, maybe.
Or even just explaining something cool to my friends and family.
Exactly. It all counts.
So it's about showing them I can translate the language of stars into something everyone can understand.
Precisely. And that's a super important skill for astronomers these days.
Makes sense.
Highlight your ability to use simple language, clear analogies, and really engage people with a good story.
It's like you got to be a storyteller, too.
Kinda. You could even give a specific example like, I once explained gravitational lensing to high school students by comparing it to how a magnifying glass bends light.
Oh, well, that's a good one. I actually understand
I
that.
see. It works.
Okay, last question. And this one might seem kind of basic, but they'd love to ask it. How do you prioritize and manage your research projects?
Ah, yes, the classic time management question.
Why is it such a big deal for astronomers?
Well, astronomers are often working on multiple projects at once with all sorts of deadlines and collaborators.
Like a cosmic juggling act.
Exactly. You got to be organized, efficient, able to adapt when things change.
So how do I prove I'm not going to fall apart under pressure?
Share your strategies for staying on top of everything.
Like, do I use project management software?
If you do, definitely mention it. Do you break down big tasks into smaller chunks?
Oh, yeah. Got to do that.
Do you have a system for tracking deadlines?
I use a combination of online tools and, like, good old-fashioned to-do lists.
Perfect. Be specific. Give examples.
Okay, so I can say something like, I use a mix of online tools and to-do lists to keep all my projects straight. I also prioritize tasks based on deadlines and how important they are to the overall research goals.
Exactly. It shows them you have a system in place to handle the chaos.
And trust me, research can be chaotic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Don't forget to mention your communication skills, too, especially when it comes to collaborating with team members.
That's a big part of project management, especially on those huge research projects.
Absolutely. Got to keep everyone on the same page.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of interview questions today,
We have.
but I want to step back for a second. Think about the bigger picture.
Sounds good.
We all know getting a job in astronomy is super competitive.
It is.
What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out trying to stand out from the crowd?
Beyond nailing those interview questions, it's about telling your story in a way that captures their attention.
Showing them what makes you unique.
Exactly. Highlight your strengths, but most importantly, show them that genuine passion for astronomy.
Like, gotta have those stars in your eyes.
For sure. And don't underestimate the power of networking.
Yeah, go to conferences, meet other astronomers.
Join professional organizations. Those connections can really make a difference.
And speaking of making a difference, let's give RoleCatcher's AI one last shout out.
It really is a game changer.
We've talked about how it can help with applications, interviews.
But it can also help you explore different career paths, even connect you with potential employers.
It's like having a personal career counselor for astronomy.
That's a great way to put it.
So what's the big takeaway from all this?
You don't have to go into these interviews feeling unprepared.
You've got the knowledge, the skills, the tools to really impress them.
And convince them that you're the astronomer they've been searching for.
I love it. All right, that's a wrap for our deep dive into astronomer interview prep.
It's been fun.
We hope you learned a ton and are feeling ready to launch that astronomy career.
Go get 'em.
And remember, keep looking up at those stars. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll be making the next big discovery.